Only forward. Business unusual. Briggisland rests fitfully. The grey waters, and those who felt that they've been hard done by, may have been mollified, but there's still a dangerous undercurrent. Every time news comes from Anvil of this or that happening, there are few who mutter, "What would Shell do?" into their pints. Those who feel the hand of imperial law was a little too quick to fall onto them, and their neighbours grumble in half sentences, thick with illusion about the injustices that they clutch close to their breasts. To an outsider, it looks like business as usual in the Dower Fens. But to those who live there, they can see the ripples of Matilda Fisher, what she set in motion, swirling and tugging and teasing just beneath the surface. Business as usual. And then the Jotun invade. Not into the fens, not into the shadow of Fisher's Rock, nor into the lands claimed by the Grey Waters. The armies march across the border from the south, from Leathafen, which the Jotun first named the Dead Forest, but now, as they beat the wild forests back, they have taken to calling it Ashvale. Two armies, the Fist of Ulven and the Southern Bear, crossing into the only area of solid ground in the whole territory, into Graven March. The only dry ground. Uncharacteristically, especially for an army that is usually a barely contained whirlwind of joyful violence, the Fist of Ulven come in with caution as their shield rather than with overwhelming force. There's an edge of uncertainty to their advance. All too often in the past, the Bregas marches have been wound round with the warding echoes of night magic, twisting and turning their paths and sowing confusion in their ranks. The Southern Bear know such reticence, moving with the confident surety that marks most of the maneuvers in the Imperial territory. Sometimes they follow the lead of the Fist of Ulven, consolidating the gains they have made. Other time they forge ahead, eager to be the first into the fray. Not that there is much fighting as the Jotun measure such things. There are no magical wards to slow their advance, and there are few defenders capable of putting up any serious resistance. A handful of levies raised by the households of Graven March, another handful of strong-reed soldiers, absent without leave from their midwold billet, snuck across the border to visit family or to pursue an unwise assignation. This is no reprise of the last invasion, where the Jotun sought to install Matilda Fisher as a steward of Bregisland. There are few Yagara among the ranks, and none march under the banner of the Eels on the Water. Yanya Arandel brings the Howling Bears to fight alongside the Fist, although there are no sign of the walrus banner of their habitual friend and rival Isa Winterborn. Their place is taken by the Ice Fishers of Ledansk, that loose gathering of champions from minor clans across Kalsi, who fight for honor of Kerheim and Tromsø and other more distant lands. A few wonder if the decision not to bring Yagara into Bregisland is intentional. Perhaps King Gudmundr Arason, who under the banners of the Fist of Ulven fight, wished to avoid comparison with the recent failed venture into Bregisland, to make it clear that this is about Jotun conquest and not the ambitions of a dead woman and her clan. There's no easy way to know, but there is a rumor that for the first time in quite a while, the Jarl of Jarls, the leader of the Southern Jotun, does not lead the Fist of Ulven himself, entrusting the role in the conquest of Bregisland to his niece, Geirfund Haggersdottir. Graven fall. They may strike carefully, but Graven Rock falls to the Jotun almost immediately. The great grey stone pebble quickly makes a base of operation for the Jotun. Their caution about its twisting depths soon melt away, and the Howling Bears waste little time before beginning to explore its tunnels and passages, eager to prove their bravery. More practical Jotun among the Ice Fishers of Ledansk set the thralls they have brought with them to the task of finding ways to fortify the 4-mile-wide plateau. Perhaps Bjorgthorn Hammerhead, General of the Southern Bear, dreams of creating the largest fortification the Jotun have ever known using this ancient rock as foundation. Such dreams will offer scant consolation to the keeper of the dour fens, denied the bounty of the magical sinecure that lies beneath the rock for the second time in the space of a year. From the rock, the armies advance on the town of Graven. In happier times, Navarre merchants and stridings would pass through here in their peregrinations north from Liathaven, or when returning to their home in the south. As well as trade goods, they would deliver and take people from Graven. Those who wanted to see the Empire would join an outward-bound striding. Those who had nowhere else to welcome them would arrive with the inward-bound Navarre, and perhaps choose to stay, seduced by the bleak beauty of Bregisland. Since the final fall of Liathaven, these stridings have become much rarer, and it is perhaps only bad luck that sees two of them visiting Graven when the Jotun come. They fight alongside their marcher hosts. Of course they do. But they pay a different price to the Brigis yeomen when the town falls. The orcs have not forgiven the Navarre for the indignities and dishonour they have visited on them. Where they offer the marchers the familiar choice, they simply execute any Navarre that survived the initial fighting. Nothing cruel, nothing drawn out. A swift blow from an axe or sword or spear and it is done. Each execution is accompanied by a few words, reminding the Navarre that this is what they reap for the dishonour, the indignity, the cruelty that their people have visited on the Jotun. No mercy for the Imperial Druge. If the Jotun had been more forceful, they would have pressed further into the unguarded marshes. As it is, their caution and their concern for obfuscating wards or hidden armies has slowed their invasion just enough. Gravenmarch is conquered. But the rest of Bregisland has time to react and to prepare. Time to realize what is happening and begin to make plans. The yeomen ready their bills and their bows, grimly eager for the moment when the strong reeds will come marching home and put the Jotun to flight again. Game information. The region of Gravenmarch has been captured by the Jotun. They have not made any inroads to the rest of the territory, and were mostly able to seize the lands they have conquered thanks to the implacable advance of the Southern Bear. They are busy establishing defensive encampments around Graven Rock. This means that the Keeper of the Dour Fens has again lost access to their bounty of mana, and cannot take advantage of the Weeping Menhirs until the region is back in Imperial hands. Conjunction. Choices. Mitwold. A Jotun warband are returning from raiding Mitwold. This skirmish is a combat highly likely encounter. The Bailiff of the Grand Markets is responsible for slaying Urs Longarm. Even as the Fist of the Ulven and the Southern Bear advance on Graven, a small warband moves ahead of the armies and strikes into the rich farmland of Mitwold. Urs Longarm, fresh from their victory against the Fenny Enclave in Ashvale, has looked to cement their position among the southern Jotun with a raid into the rich heartland of the Marches. The warband has managed to keep a step ahead of the scattered strong reeds, billeted as they are across the territory, and have amassed enough of a fortune and gained enough reputation for their actions that Longarm is returning back to the Jotun-held Gravenmarch and security. Given that this represents dealing with those who have threatened the major roads between the settlements of Mitwold, it is the responsibility of the Bailiff of the Grand Market, Sebastian Shaw, to kill Urs Longarm and the rest of the Jotun. If Urs Longarm isn't killed, the reputation will spread, drawing ambitious Jotun from across Narkist with a desire for wealth and renown. Shadow of the Rock Battle Opportunity. The Jotun are working to raise makeshift defenses around Graven Rock and transform it into a ramshackle fortification. There is an opportunity for Imperial heroes to face the Jotun in Gravenmarch and prevent them from raising effective defenses around Graven Rock. Further details will be made available closer to the event.